Hey, welcome back. Simon Lees here again. I'm going to do you a guitar lesson today. Okay, it's more about gear, I suppose, than playing the guitar today. I want to talk about a popular effect that a lot of people use, and it's called a delay pedal, or you can use most multi-effects pedals have got a delay section. And what delay is, it adds an echo basically to whatever you're playing. The sound I've got set up is for one of the songs that I play with when I'm playing with Anubis. It's a tune called the Pharaoh, and you can hear there's an echo on that, you know. So you don't notice it so much when I'm playing chords, especially if you let the chord ring out, you know, because as the chord rings out, the echoes kind of get mixed in with the sound that's coming out of the actual guitar. So this is why when you're testing echo or the delay settings, there's no point in just playing a chord and going. You won't be able to tell if it sounds, if the echo itself sounds good or not. What you've got to do is just play, or you can play a chord, or better still, just play a single note on one of the higher strings, you know, so, and chop it off. You know, as soon as you've played the note, just kind of damp it. Right then, I'm going to talk about the settings of the delay pedal. Now, if I sort of go into the delay menu, the type I've chosen is single. There are loads of different types of echo on the Boss GT multi effects, but if you're using one guitar amp, and to be honest, I recommend you do, because very few venues are equipped to sort of make the most of stereo setups anyway, so you're much better off using mono. Okay, the time is designed so that I mean, the tempo of the song is kind of like, you know, so there's like dun, 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 dun. So the delay, I've set that specifically to the time of the song, you know. I mean, obviously, if Kev, our drummer, gets excited, then that could change. But it's always roughly around about there. And to be honest, the echo isn't the main feature of the guitar sound. It's just something that I like. If I take the echo off, you can hear the difference, you know. It's not a bad sound, you know, but if I do the same thing with the echo on, you'll hear the difference. It's especially nice when you do slides, you know, that sort of thing. It just gives every single note that you play a bit of a kind of halo, you know. So I'm not a big fan of reverb. I find reverb makes it sound as though you're just playing in your bathroom, which, you know, it's more interesting than having nothing. But given the choice, I just put a little bit of delay on, and it fills the sound out. It stops it sounding too dead. But it doesn't make it sound as though you're playing in a public toilet, you know. It just makes it sound nice and interesting. So the time is usually measured in milliseconds. So there's 1,000 milliseconds in a second. So you can gather by my setting there that the gap between each echo is just over half a second. So I've got that set to 513 milliseconds. You know, so that's the time. For a general purpose echo that just kind of follows your lead playing without getting in the way, I recommend anywhere between 420 to 460 milliseconds. That's usually fine. I've got this set to 513 because I say it's specific to this song, so it should follow the tempo of the song. Okay, so that's the time. Now there's a setting on echo pedals called feedback. Now you might think, oh, it's to do with feedback, you know, sort of when you play a note and it lasts forever. It's not that at all. Feedback is basically the higher setting you use, the more echoes you get. At the minute, I've got this set to 30, but if I increase that to 100, and let's see what happens. And the echo just keeps going. Because what's happening is, the echo pedal, if you like, is feeding back the signal back to its input, and it's feeding the whole thing back. You know, if you use a slightly lower setting, it doesn't feed so much back into the input, and what happens is that the echo gradually dies away. Then, I mean, it's dying away now, but very, very slightly. You know, so I'm gonna turn that back down again. So again, if I turn that to, say, something like 10. You get a good echo, a very quiet echo, and that's about it. You know, so that's what the feedback does. It just controls the number of echoes that you get. So I'll put that back to what it was. There's a couple of other settings: high cut and effect level. So the high cut is basically, you might not get this if you've got an actual pedal with knobs on it. They can't squeeze that many knobs onto a machine like that. But if you've got a multi-effects thing and you've got a high cut, basically it means that the echoes that come back haven't got. Well, you can take some of the treble away from the echo. So what you get back doesn't sound exactly the same as the original guitar sound. So you can hear when I picked that, it was quite a sharp sound, but then the echo that came back was less sharp. So if I do a higher note. And it's a nice thing to have, because when you're playing, you want the things that you're actually playing to stand out more than the echo. You don't want the echo to sort of take over or even be equal to what you're playing. You want it to be slightly in the background, you know. So having the high cut works really well for that. Now, if I set that so you can see what I mean, that was at 3 kilohertz. If I set it to flat, that means that the echoes are an exact replica of the sound that went into the echo machine. So you can hear it's much sharper when it comes back. And it's all right, it's nice, you know. You know, but I don't want that to distract from what I'm actually playing. So if I turn that back down to 3 kilohertz, and the idea is, when it comes back into the echo machine, it's chopping off all the frequencies above 3 kilohertz. So that's all the frequencies that sound kind of hi-fi, you know, that make it sound nice and sharp. So you can see as soon as that echo came back, that harmonic was dull, you know. Okay, the effect level is basically the volume of the echoes that come back, you know. If I turn that up, and this one for some reason goes up to 120, that means that the first echo that comes back is going to be actually louder than what I played, you know, so. You know, it's an interesting effect. It's not one that I would use. No, that was set to 64. So again, I set the effect level to such a way that you can hear the echo. So it's, you know, it's not a pointless thing to have it switched on. But again, it's not taking over from what I'm playing. It's not sort of distracting. It's just enhancing what I'm playing, you know, just making what I play sound a little bit better than it actually is, you know. So again, if I turn that down really low, so if I turn it down to 10, there's something there, but it's really quiet. So that's the sort of control you've got. I mean, if I put it to 30, that might be a... Yeah, so it's there, but it's not really doing much. If you had that set in and you were playing with a band, you wouldn't hear anything, you know. So So that's kind of how I tend to set things like echo. When you're playing with other instruments, the other instruments will tend to drown that effect out. So it's better to have a little bit more than you think you need. And then when you mix it all up with the, like say, rhythm guitarist, bass player, drummer, it'll probably be about right, you know. So that is quite prominent. You know, but when I play that with the rest of the band, it doesn't sound over the top. It just sounds kind of nice, you know. Just gives it a nice quality sort of sound. So most echo pedals tend to have time, which is the milliseconds bit, so you can adjust how much time there is between the echoes. They all have a feedback control, so you can control the number of echoes that you get, and they all have a level control, so you can control the volume of the echoes as they come back. And I say multi-effects units such as the Boss GT range tend to have a few more little bits and bobs you can adjust just to get things absolutely perfect. So yeah, I mean, now I've introduced you to the settings. If you've got a delay pedal that you know, have a little tweak around with it, see if you can make it sound good. I'd like to do another tutorial about echo pedals, but it's going to be best to do that in a separate video, I think, because it's going to be quite involved. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that one. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.